Toby stopped mid-stride. The river, usually a constant roar, was silent. He stepped into the bed, his paws sinking into cracked, sun-baked mud where the current should have been. A shadow swept over him as Pico dived from the canopy, wings beating erratically against the humid air. "Toby, the hidden waterfall has stopped," the bird chirped, circling once before landing on a dry stone. Toby looked up. The jungle canopy felt heavier, the usual rustle of leaves replaced by a stagnant dry heat. He turned toward the bend in the river and saw Ellie. She was pacing, her trunk swaying low, her ears drooping against the sudden, unnatural silence of the forest. Toby ran to her, his muscles tight with purpose. "It is gone," Ellie trumpeted, the sound hollow in the empty channel. Toby scanned the upstream horizon, his tail flicking with sharp, rhythmic jerks. He looked at his friends, then back to the parched path ahead. "We have to fix it," he said. They stood together on the riverbank, the weight of the drying jungle settling on their shoulders. The search for the source had to begin now. They tracked the riverbed until it vanished into a deep, jagged gorge. A rope bridge spanned the void, its frame swaying in the wind like a pendulum. Ellie stepped onto the ropes first. She tested the knots with her weight, the wood groaning beneath her as the bridge bucked under a sudden gust. She signaled for the others. Toby followed, his claws gripping the fraying rope, his eyes fixed on the far side. Pico flew above, chirping warnings whenever a gust threatened to tilt them into the dark chasm below. One by one, they reached the solid rock of the far bank. They had no time to rest. A thick wall of tangled, stubborn vines blocked the trail ahead, creating a dense, impenetrable barrier. Toby spotted a faint trail of glowing blue flowers woven into the center of the wall. He drove his shoulder into the knot of stems, pushing until his muscles burned. Ellie leaned in, using her trunk to pull the heavy branches apart, while Pico pecked at the thinner, stubborn tendrils. With a sharp snap, the barrier gave way. They scrambled through the gap, leaving the blocked path behind, and pushed deeper into the silent heart of the jungle. They stepped out of the narrow passage and into a cavern that smelled of wet earth and ancient stone. The darkness here was thin, held at bay by clusters of jagged crystals embedded in the walls. These stones pulsed with a faint, rhythmic glow, casting long, shifting shadows across the damp floor. At the far end of the chamber, the path ended abruptly against a massive slab of solid rock. It was a door, seamless and imposing, carved with intricate shapes that seemed to watch them as they approached. Toby stepped forward, his paw pads silent on the cold stone. He pointed to the surface. 3 distinct images were etched into the center: a tiger, a parrot, and an elephant. The air grew heavy, thick with the weight of the mountain above them. Ellie stood to the left, her trunk hovering inches from the elephant carving. Pico fluttered to the center, his wings brushing the stone near the parrot icon. Toby aligned himself with the tiger. They looked at one another, a silent signal passing between them. At the same moment, they pressed their marks. The stone groaned, a deep, grinding sound that vibrated through the soles of their feet, and the heavy slab began to slide inward. The stone door slid aside, revealing a cavern filled with the frantic sound of rushing air. A colossal pile of logs choked the riverbed, damming the water into a stagnant, rising pool. A cluster of beavers scrambled over the wood, their attempts to shift the debris failing as the weight pinned them down. Toby waded into the dark, knee-deep mud, his muscles coiled and straining. He locked his teeth onto a heavy, slick timber and pulled his claws digging deep into the river floor. Ellie stepped in beside him, wrapping her trunk around the largest branch. She braced her weight, muscles rippling, as she heaved with a low, guttural grunt. Pico circled high above, his sharp eyes scanning the pile to identify the keystone log. "There, pull that one," he chirped. They surged forward in unison. Toby braced, Ellie pulled, and the entire structure groaned under the pressure. With a final, bone-jarring crack, the logs shifted and collapsed. The water did not just trickle, it erupted. A wall of white foam roared forward, smashing through the rocks and flooding the dry basin. The sudden force sent a spray of mist into the air, drenching them as the river finally reclaimed its path. The roar of the waterfall settled into a rhythmic, steady pulse that echoed through the valley. As the mist cleared, a vibrant rainbow arched across the sky, painting the wet leaves in brilliant hues of violet and gold. The jungle, once silent and parched, began to breathe again. Monkeys swung through the canopy, their chatter rising to join the rhythmic drumming of the water. Below, the riverbank sparkled as the sun hit the returning current, turning the stream into a ribbon of light. Ellie stood by the water, her ears flapping in the cool breeze, while Pico landed on a nearby branch, preening his wings with satisfied chirps. Toby shook the mud from his paws, watching the life pulse through the green expanse. The parched ferns had already begun to lift, their edges no longer curled in thirst. Other animals emerged from the shadows, gathering at the edge of the stream to drink. There was no need for words. They watched the water dance over the rocks, the sound of the flow blending with the distant calls of the birds. The home they had fought to save was alive once more, and in the quiet shared between them, the strength of their bond remained the anchor of the forest.